All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. It is Friday morning, April the 26th, 2024, and hope you're having a beautiful day. Today, we're continuing in the Psalms. We're going to be looking at Psalms 56, 86, and Psalm 26. And I've entitled today's Daily Manna, Lord, prepare me to be a contender, not a pretender. I want to really be able to endure the battle. I don't want to just look like I'm ready for the battle. I want to be the real deal. I want to be someone who is thoroughly prepared for all that I'm unprepared for all that I'm going to face, for the things I don't expect. Lord, form me into someone who can respond in the moment in the way that I'm supposed to. You know, we want the Lord to form us, and yet that formation process doesn't always look like we'd prefer. I want to be that person who can respond in that moment. I want that outcome, but we don't like or desire the process that is required to get us there, right? We want the training, but not that kind of training. And of course, I go to my standby go-to illustration of the Karate Kid, right? I want to learn karate, he says, and he goes, he goes, so are you ready to start your training? And Mr. Miyagi says, you ready to start your training? And he says, yeah, I guess so. He goes, Daniel-san, listen. You put the grape on the right side of the road, it's okay. You put the grape on the middle of the road, it's okay. You put a grape in the middle of the road, squish, you in the middle of the road, not a grape. You stand on the right side of the road, you're okay. Left side of the road, you're okay. You stand in the middle of the road, squish, just like grape, right? And then he says, same with you in karate. Either you karate yes, or you karate no. You karate gesso, squish, just like grape. So then he says to him, okay, so here's the deal. I'm the teacher, you're the student. I say, you do, no questions asked. He's like, yeah, no problem. But then the training begins to look differently than he expected. He has to start washing cars and doing it in a particular way and painting the fence and painting the house and sanding the deck. And I did those out of order. He does all of those things. And he's like, what does this have to do with karate? And he's ready to quit. He's like, forget it. This is hard, and I don't see the fruitfulness of it. I don't see the point in it. I'm out of here, right? But what he has no idea of, he has no concept of what's actually being formed in him. And so that when Mr. Miyagi begins to illustrate it to him, he says, show me san de flo. And when he starts to kick, the things that have been trained into him, he doesn't know the kick is coming, but now these instincts have been trained into him, right, through repetition and all of this stuff. And so now he can respond in a fight, in a karate match, in ways that come out of this training. Well, there are things that we want the Lord to form in us. We want to be pleasing to him. We want to truly be who he wants us to be. And yet there's another work at force in me. Romans chapter 7 says, it's sin living in me. We say, Lord, I want to follow you. And Yeshua says, well, it's not going to be comfortable. Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. If you want to follow me, deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. It sounds good in theory, and yet today, on this day, in this moment, dying to myself is hard. I'll do it tomorrow, but today it's hard. I'll just wait until then. And so the question is, do we want to truly be? Have we established in our hearts, yes, I'm going to follow you, no matter how hard it gets? Yes, I'm going to follow you. Or is it a guess so? When we read in Psalm 56, we see a season where David is going through a really difficult time. It's at his lowest point. He's on the run from Saul. The Philistines have seized him in Gath. This is likely around the time where he had to fake drooling and being a crazy man to save his life. And he says this, he asks the Lord, Chaneni, he says, be gracious, show me favor, O God. For man has crushed me, fighting all day, fighting the whole day, he oppresses me. There's a weariness here. There's a bone-deep weariness of the fight that's been going on all day. He says, my foes trample me, kol hayom, all the day, the whole day. For many are fighting me arrogantly. And he says, in a day when I am afraid, or in the day of my fear, I will put my trust in you. So here you have this dark day, the whole day, where he's crushed. He's oppressed the whole day. His enemies trampling him, in pursuit of him the whole day. But in that day, he says, I'm going to put my trust in you. Verse 5, in God, I keep praising his word. In God I trust. I will not fear. What can mere flesh, what can meat do to me, he says. Verse 6, all day, the whole day, they twist my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They stir up strife. They lie hidden. They mark my steps, eager to take my soul. In spite of such sin, will they escape? In fierce anger, O God, cast down such people. You have recorded my wanderings. This is my aimlessness, this feeling of completely being disjointed, of being in limbo, he's not home. He's in Gath. He's among his enemies, and on the run. And he says, Lord, you've booked it. You've recorded it. It's been remembered by you, my wanderings. You have put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Then my enemies will turn back in the day I call. This I know. This is what I understand. This is what I recognize. He says that God is for me. I know that he's for me. I know that he's at work in my life. So he comes back to that, right? In the day of my fear, I'm going to trust in you. And this whole dark day, I'm going to keep trusting you. I'm going to keep praising your word. And so in verse 11 again, he says, in God, I keep praising his word. In Adonai, I keep praising his word. In God I trust. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? I am under vows to you, O God. I made a commitment to you. I said, yes, Lord. I made a commitment to you. I said, yes. I didn't say, guess so. I said, yes, I am under vows to you, O God. I will present thank offerings to you, for you have delivered my soul from death and my feet from stumbling, that I may walk before God in the light of life. I'm going to walk in that commitment. Keep training me, Lord. Psalm 86 is a prayer of David, and he calls out, he says, turn your ear, Adonai, and answer me. For I am weak and needy, right? I'm afflicted and I'm oppressed, is what he says here. He says, watch over my soul, for I am chesed, which is I'm loved. Here it says godly. It's I am loved by you. I am of your chesed. I am of your love, of your covenant loyalty and love. You are my God. Save your servant who trusts in you, right? Rescue your servant who's put his confidence in you. In the day of my fear, I will trust you. What can mere meat do to me? In the day of fear, I will trust in you. What can dirt do to me is what he basically, when he says, Adam, what can you do to me? In this day, Lord, I'm going to trust in you. You are my God. Save your servant who trusts in you. Be gracious to me. Chaneni Adonai. Show favor to me, for to you I cry the whole day. I'm calling out to you the whole dark day. Gladden the soul of your servant, for to you, my Lord, I lift up my soul. Because you, my Lord, are good and ready to forgive, and you are full of chesed, of mercy, of love to all who call upon you. I'm going to keep calling on you the whole day. I need you, Lord. Give ear, Adonai, to my prayer. Listen to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my trouble, in the day of my distress, in the day when I'm squeezed, I call upon you because you will answer me. Right? He may not answer us with the answer we want, but he will answer. We can call upon him and know that he is good. Right? I don't know what Mr. Miyagi's doing here having me wash his cars. My tendency can be to think he's using me. He's misusing me. But when you know the character of him, then you say, okay, I've made an agreement. You teach, I learn. You're the teacher, I'm the student. You say, I do. Well, the Lord is the good teacher. The Lord is good and gracious and compassionate and overflowing in love and truth. And so in that day, I'm going to call on you, and I know you'll answer me, and I'm going to trust in your goodness. There is no one, verse 8, there is none like you among the gods, my Lord. There's none like you among those who are mighty. You are mightier. There are no deeds like yours. All nations you have made will come and bow down before you, my Lord, and they will glorify your name because you are great. He says it with emphasis, emphatically, Ki gadol ata, because great are you. You are great, and you do miraculous things. You do extraordinary things, he says. You alone are God. Teach me, instruct me in your way, Adonai, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to fear your name, right? So he literally says, it says, unite my heart to fear your name. That's the way it's translated here, give me an undivided heart, but it says, yachad levavi, unite my heart. So there's this tearing within, right? There's the fear over here and the desire to trust yourself and then there's knowing I'm going to trust in your word. I'm going to trust in what you say. And he says, Lord, give me an undivided heart. Unite my heart so that in wholeness, so that I'm wholehearted in awe of you, in awe of your name, of your character, of your goodness, of your graciousness, your compassion. You're slow to anger. You're overflowing in love and truth. You forgive iniquity and transgression and sin. There's none like you, our God, whose throne is justice and righteousness. I praise you, O Lord my God, verse 12, with my whole heart and glorify your name forever. For great is your chesed, is your loving kindness, is your love, your covenant loyalty toward me. For you have delivered my soul from the lowest part of Sheol. Right? I was in the deepest depths. Great is your love toward me. You have delivered me. God, the proud have risen up against me. A gang of ruthless people have sought my life and have not set you before them. But you, my Lord, are compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, full of love and truth. That's who you are. So he says to verse 16, so turn toward me, Lord, and be gracious toward me. Give your strength to your servant and save the son of your maidservant. Make me a sign for good so that those who hate me may see it and be ashamed. For you, Adonai, have helped me and comforted me. My hope is in you. My trust is in you. We come to Psalm 26, which is a psalm that has become one of my favorite psalms because of the kind of prayer that it is. When it opens up, it's translated here, vindicate me, Adonai, which has the sense of, when we read it in that language, it's like somehow it's saying, Lord, I've been falsely accused, so vindicate me. The word is, it's a shaftani from the word mishpat or shafat, to judge. And what he's saying to the Lord is, okay, how am I doing? How am I doing? Like, where am I really at? Judge me, Lord. Weigh me. Look at me. Am I a pretender or am I a contender? Judge me, Lord, because I've walked in my integrity or in my simplicity, and I've trusted in Adonai without wavering. Verse 2, he says, probe me, which is to put me to the test, to examine me. It's like take your magnifying glass and look closely at me, Adonai, and test me. The word for test, nasa, is to take me through an exercise, through a training. Put me on the treadmill. Let's see how my heart is. So he's like, look at me. Put me through the rigors of testing. And then he says, refine my mind. Liquefy, melt, dissolve. Put me through the fire. Put my mind, my emotions. Refine my mind and my heart. Like, I don't want to just look like I'm walking with you. I want it to be the real deal. I want, when things get hard, I want to be so walking in line with you, Lord, that you have searched me, you know me, you've tested me, you've looked closely, you've put me through the trials and tests, you've allowed me. I want, because I want to be the real deal. I submit myself to your processes. It says, verse 3, for your love, your chesed, is before my eyes, and I have walked in your truth. Right? So David is asking the Lord to search him like this, examine me, run me through the test, purify me. And it's not a scary thing because David knows the character of the Lord. He says, your love is, I see who you are. Your love is before my eyes. Your covenant, that's what I'm looking at, and I'm committed to walking in your truth. And so now he makes the case for it. Okay, this is how I've walked in your truth. I'm walking in the truth you've revealed. So David moves over these next few verses from describing the things that he hates to the things that he loves, and all these things are shaped and informed by what God has said is true. Lord, I hate what you hate. I love what you love. So he says, I've walked in your truth. Verse 4, I've not sat with men of falsehood, nor do I come and go, or I consort with pretenders. The word hypocrites is the hiding ones, the pretenders. I'm not sitting with deceitful people. And that's what I'm not making my dwelling place among those who playing these games, who are deceitful, and I'm not coming and going with pretenders. He says, I detest the company of evildoers, and I do not sit with the wicked. Right? He detests not walking in God's truth. It sickens him. He hates the gathering of those who've gathered to do evil. I don't sit with them. I'm not with them. Right? Walking in God's truth, walking in wholeness and simplicity and integrity. Those are the things that he's committed to walking with God. So he doesn't walk with these folks. And so these are the things he's committed to not doing, right? I'm not going to be in the company of evildoers. I'm not going to sit with the wicked. I'm not going to be with those who are defined by deception and falsehood and pretending, with hypocrites. He says, here's what I will do, verse 6, I will wash my hands in innocence. Right? I'm committed. The imagery here is when you come into the presence of the Lord, you come into the temple, and there's the water. When you're not, there's a washing that you come and you want the basin that you would wash your hands with. He's committed to washing and to being washed in innocence, so that I can walk around your altar, Adonai. Right, so that he can go around the altar of sacrifice. He says, hearing the voice of thanksgiving while proclaiming all of your wonders. I want to be listening and hearing those who are thankful for what you've done. I want to be describing all the amazing, wonderful, extraordinary things that you've done. He says, Adonai, I love the house where you live, the place where your glory dwells. Don't take my soul or my life, don't away with sinners, nor my life with people of bloodshed, in whose hands are wicked schemes, whose right hand is full of bribes. As you are harvesting up, and when you gather up either evildoers, Lord, don't mix me in with them. Don't gather me with those who've missed your ways. Don't gather me together with those who are people of bloodshed and evil plans, that are doing unjust things, that are taking, that are after themselves, taking bribes, working in injustice. As for me, verse 11 opens up, as for me, I will walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be gracious to me. My feet stand on level ground. in congregations, I will bless Adonai. Right? So you have this. We say, Lord, check me out. Search me and know me. See if my motives are pure. Right? There's who I think I am, who I can tell you, no, this is who I want to be. This is who I know that when it gets hard, here's who I'm going to be. And the point is that when things get hard, we often get what's revealed is who we actually are. I'm not there yet. I wasn't intending to be a pretender, but the circumstances have shown I'm not yet who I'm called to be. And that's not for me walking in a place of condemnation. It's me walking in a place of reality and saying, Lord, keep forming me, keep shaping me. I know that you love me. I know your love is before me. It's before my eyes, but I want to be like you. When we go through the hardest tests that we experience, you can come out of your prayer closet, have this wonderful time with the Lord. You could go off daily manna today, and you run into someone who, for some reason, is exceptionally difficult today. Someone who is like seems like they're trying to pick a fight with you. And in that moment, what comes out of me? What is it to be like Yeshua in that moment? And so we may end up being disappointed with what's revealed in us in those moments. I mean, look, after 3 years of walking closely with Yeshua, Peter was disappointed, ended up being disappointed with what was shown in him. He was fully confident of his loyalty to Yeshua. He knew that there's nothing. He was the most loyal. Luke 22, Yeshua says, Simon, Simon, indeed Satan has demanded to sift you all like wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith will not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. But Simon said to him, Master, I'm ready to go with you even to prison and to death. I'll go through it all. I'll go through the hardest times with you. I'm not a pretender. I'm a contender. I'm ready for the fight. In Matthew 26, Peter replied to him, They'll all fall away because of you, not me. I'll never fall away. Luke 22:34, but Yeshua said, I tell you, Peter, a rooster will not crow today until you have denied 3 times that you know me. That's not going to happen. I know who I am, and I'm going to make it. Now, when they had lit a fire, verse 55, in the center of the courtyard and sat down together, and Peter was sitting among them, then a servant girl saw him sitting at the fire. She looked straight at him and said, This one was sitting with him too. But he denied it, saying, Woman, I don't know him. A little later, another saw him and said, You too are one of them. Peter said, Man, I am not. And about an hour later, another began to insist, saying, Certainly this fellow was with him, for he too is a Galilean. But Peter said, Man, I don't know what you're talking about. And immediately while he was still speaking, a rooster crowed. And the Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had told him, Before the rooster crows today, you'll deny me 3 times. And Peter went out and wept bitterly. Oh, he was so disappointed. He was so disappointed. He thought he was in one spot, but he wasn't there. I don't want to live in denial. I don't want to be like, that's fine. I want to be who God's called me to be. So search me, Lord. Are we willing? Are we ready to say, run me through the tests? Because those tests aren't comfortable. The Lord later tells him at the end of John, he says, chapter 21, he says, Truly, truly, I tell you, when you were younger, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted, he tells Peter. But when you grow old, you'll stretch out your hands. Someone else will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go. Now this he said to indicate by what kind of death Peter was going to glorify God. And after this, Yeshua said to him, Follow me. Peter, turning around, sees the disciple following him. Seeing him, Peter said to Yeshua, Lord, what about him? Yeshua said to him, if I want him to remain until I come, what's that to you? You follow me. If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. And day by day, as we follow him, we keep finding out in circumstances that we keep taking our own turns and our own paths. And so we say, Lord, judge me, search me, vindicate me, look at me, run me through the tests, take me through the fire, make me who you want me to be. Prepare me, train me to be a contender, not a pretender. Let's say yes, Lord, not I guess so, Lord. Are you ready? Are we ready to make that commitment? It's a daily commitment. It's a daily laying down my life for him. And that's what he's called us to do. Amen. Amen. Well, Shabbat Shalom. Don't forget service tomorrow at 10:30. Hope you're all having a wonderful Passover. We do have the Passover Seder and the materials available on the app. If you haven't downloaded the app, make sure to go in and download the app. And our Seder, our home Seder is available there. If you're in the greater Phoenix area, we hope you can join one of our Seders in these coming days. But until then, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.